Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Manufacturing Solutions track on integrating Quickbase with your ERP for visibility and flexibility. We're going to get started, so let me do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Ashley Banning. I'm a solutions consultant with Quickbase and been with the company about 3 years. I was actually a previous Quickbase customer in the manufacturing industry where we use Quickbase in all the things quality. So internal auditing, non-conformance reports, corrective actions, defect tracking, and I really just fell in love with the agility of the platform. Today, my role is really to work with account executives and partner with them to win new business. So everything from demonstrations and technical questions and really all things Quickbase. We have two very special guests here today, Andy Krumrai from Rockwell Automation and Amanda Satiraj from Power Plant Services. And we're so excited to have you both, and I'll let you introduce yourselves in just a moment. To give everyone a little bit of context on this session, we wanted to bring Andy and Amanda in with us to have them share their Quickbase stories. More specifically, how they're leveraging Quickbase to access data in their ERPs and core systems, and what workflows that they're using Quickbase for. In terms of an agenda, we'll start off by talking about those core systems that both Rockwell and Power Plant Services use. Andy and Amanda will share with us how they're integrating with Quickbase, the benefits and new workflows they've built out as a result of the integrations, and then we'll finish up with some live Q&A. So first, it'd be great to have both of you share a little bit about yourselves, your role, your company, and the story of how you came over to Quickbase. So Andy, do you want to get us started?
Sure, thanks, Ashley. Myself, I've been in the IT world for about 30 years. And about 3 years ago, I came to Rockwell, and I'm actually hired into the business unit and adopted the Quickbase app. I've been part of consulting, manufacturing, insurance, and government worked for companies like CompuWare, Harley-Davidson, General Dynamics, Western Publishing, a whole variety of companies. So I've broad experience around in the IT space. I started out as AS400 and worked out of that and worked my way through different roles. And currently I'm a senior business systems analyst where I bridge the gap between the customers requesting and the developers building. I'm the actual product owner, they call, for Quickbase, which is really the product is the tool. And we build a lot of different systems within there to support our company's needs. The system was brought to our company by, came as part of an acquisition. I believe we're going to talk about that later, but that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andy. It's so cool to see the backgrounds of our customers and just, all the different experiences that they bring to Quickbase. So thank you for sharing. Amanda, can you do the same and share just a little bit about yourself, the job that you're in, the company that you're with, and a bit about the Quickbase story?
Yes, thanks, Ashley. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Satiraj. I have a master's degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering, and I work as a manufacturing process engineer at Power Plant Services. So PPS is a manufacturing and repair services company that provides critical parts and services to companies that essentially power the world. We provide outages throughout the United States and also internationally. We have around 300 employees, and we've been using Quickbase for a little over a year now. And this past year, we were able to find several use cases for Quickbase. We were able to build apps that helped us in scheduling jobs, project management, identify, helps us overlook all activities in the company. And I've also noticed that every week we come up with new business challenges that help us continuously improve our existing processes and systems.
That's awesome. We're so happy that you're here, and what an amazing background and what a cool company to work with as well. So thank you so much for sharing. So now I guess let's go ahead and jump into kind of core systems. So Andy, can we start with you, and can you just tell us a little bit about what your ecosystem is at Rockwell, or in other words, what does your tech stack look like today outside of Quickbase, and what type of data is stored within those systems?
We got many different systems, Ashley. We got SAP, Dynamics, a lot of homegrown systems we've built around. Many different solution systems, and we actually deploy software out to our company shop or customer shop floor. Those are additional systems that we carry and software we actually support. So our tech stack is very heavy. We use a lot of the Microsoft products and other products too to just run our business. So from accounting all the way through sales, we get Salesforce in-house. I mean, there's many different systems within our tech stack.
That's awesome. So I know we're going to talk a little bit later about auditing, in terms of Quickbase and how you use that. So I'm just curious about that specific process and maybe what that looked like before Quickbase, and what were some of the challenges that you were facing prior to Quickbase?
Well, that particular challenge was we sold an offering and didn't have a solution to actually execute it, it felt like. So we built using Access Excel files, the ability to track its consignment inventory on customer sites. And the challenge was keeping it up to date, accurate, and making it repeatable. There was a lot of big challenges, and it just wasn't, the time delays between activities were very long lead times.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's something that we hear with a lot of our customers is they're coming from places of Excel or paper or Access databases. And so a lot of that data is hard to really visualize and have in one place. And so things kind of get lost or in the cracks. And so, definitely a lot of customers have these same challenges.
Yeah, we were seeing like 3-month lead times when an auditor would go on site they would find missing parts, which to get them replenished to be put back on the customer site, and they returned 3 months later, next quarter, and they were still missing. And that's just not acceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and thank you for sharing that. We find, similar challenges with a lot of customers that we work with. So I'm curious, and kind of jumping over to Amanda, can you tell us also a little bit about like your current ecosystem tech stack and what that looks like today at PowerPlant?
Yes, so at PowerPlant Services, our ERP is everything. We use a system called Epicor, and we get all our data that we need for all our apps in Quickbase from Epicor. So for scheduling ended to employees, the machines, and the jobs.
Absolutely. And can you talk a little bit about, your before state challenges that you had prior to Quickbase in terms of that scheduling process and job tracking?
Yes, so one of our biggest challenges before Quickbase was that everything was based in Epicor. We were using Microsoft Office to do all of our scheduling. And this was a huge challenge, especially with the traceability of our work process. It was very vague, and this led to wasted time. And we all know in our industry, time equals money. And another risk that we faced was delayed shipments due to lack of visibility.
Absolutely. Yes, and definitely, again, just reiterating, I'm in a customer facing role. And so, hearing these challenges are just things that we hear about all the time. So delays, time, money, losing information. So definitely, I think, Quickbase you came to the right place, I think, in terms of Quickbase. So I guess kind of shifting gears a little bit and going into the integration piece, that's really where Quickbase helps so many of our customers gain greater visibility into their workflows and processes. So being able to use integrations and connect multiple systems together does a lot of things for our customers. One is it really provides some real-time insights into that information. So instead of information living in multiple locations where you have to go and look at one location for certain information and another one for different information, you can have that information flow into a spot that has cohesive information and real-time insights. Additionally, integrations allow customers to leverage data to build out applications that are unique to the workflows that may not sit within those bigger solutions. And you can even do those workflows and application building rapidly as changes or disruption occur. At Quickbase, there's, I've heard a number of different ways that people describe what Quickbase is, everything from Lego building blocks to Andy's, wonderful mortar between the bricks reference. But we also, internally like to describe Quickbase as kind of that agility layer on top of organizations' core systems like an ERP and other point solutions that fills in the gaps when really those systems can't. So in terms of how to integrate, there are a number of different ways that our customers integrate their solutions. So the first way is via exporting data from those solutions and importing it into Quickbase. We also have sync capabilities to where you can actually drop information into like an SFTP location and have Quickbase pick it up on a scheduled basis. You can use custom data integrations and webhooks. And lastly, if you're not familiar, we also have Quickbase pipelines, which allows you to use pre-built native connector channels to be able to integrate information smoothly and without code into Quickbase. So knowing that information, it would really be great to have you both share a little bit about how Rockwell and Power Plant Services are choosing to integrate those systems with Quickbase. And then maybe we can jump into showing the audience a little bit about what those workflows look like in terms of Andy, your auditing piece, and Amanda, the job scheduling view. So first, Andy, do you just want to kick it off and tell us a little bit about your integration method and walk through some of these screenshots that we have on your workflow?
Yeah, most definitely. So we bring in daily contracts from SAP. Years ago, prior to my coming to Rockwell and finding out in SAP that our IT department was very rigid with, getting access into building an API or anything to be able to get data. So some people were creative enough to get a business object report built for contracts to then for it, finding every contract that was 7 days old, any changes that happened in the last 7 days, it builds a report and pulls the contract lines, information about the part numbers and the customers. And through that, we have an interface we do the import. We have a person that runs a job every day, runs that report. It breaks it up into multiple tables, and we feed a master app that we have. That app then feeds all the other apps in our system. So it's now made our contracts visible throughout all of Quickbase, and that's so powerful to having that ability to do that. It also updates when new part numbers come in, product IDs. It updates if we get a new customer, so people don't have to manually enter them. So all of that information is now regularly populated every day, and we count on that heavily. And we've had a few hiccups along the way, and you realize how much people count on it is because of when the phone starts ringing off the hook, this is missing or that's missing. So very important. We also do the same thing with our dynamics with our proposals. So we bring in our proposal, which is now being able to see what was actual proposed, some of the requirements that are on, because we use it a lot for delivery and workflows for actually updating contracts and entering and doing the proposals in these other systems. So we leave our sales people and our people out in the field doing what they do best, is selling and working with our customers. So we made tools to help that data flow easier for them. They hit a few keys, they take the proposal and say, here, write me up a contract for this line and tie it to that. And that goes into a work queue that we have a group of people that sit there and do data entry into SAP. And then that comes back the next day and we see it in Quickbase. And now we can do actionable parts off of that and build projects out of it, or move that data over to other apps like we're doing. And we also throughout the day run or week could be running actual costs from different systems and uploading them. And there's many ways you can populate data in the system. Now we take that data and we built an app around auditing, like Ashley was talking about. That app actually starts with a contract. We have a contract, and it has a bill of material on it. BOM. These are the items that the customers, we've deemed that they need. They're critical spares to have on site. So if they go down, and these are high dollar spares that they don't want to purchase and just have in their inventory. So they pay, we have a service to offer to them to maintain them as they use one. We replenish one. It's a little bit of an honor system. So we end up bring in the auditors to make sure that everybody's following the process. So we built a system around the tracking of doing these audits. So every quarter, an auditor, there's could be 1,000 contracts out there, we'll say, need to be audited for North America alone. We run a job that generates all contracts that need to be audited, and then keeps the BOM for that contract, the bill of materials, up to date with a regular data feed from SAP. So when it comes time, the auditor will turn around and make a phone call to the customer saying, hey, we got to come on site. They have some agreements. They're usually repetitive, interactions with the customer. So then they schedule a date in the system. We track all of that through statuses. If you look on it's a dashboard we have where they can then keep track of each of their audits that they have to do for a quarter, and then where it is at what point. So at the point they schedule it, then they turn around. The day comes within the week of them going on site. The BOM keeps getting populated. If it changed for any reason, the bill of material for the customer, they might have wanted a new part added or one removed in between the audit. So then the auditor will have the most current sheet in hand. They export it. They go on site. They scan all the parts they find. In the parts that they don't find, they go through a process to remediate to see if they're ready on a purchase order or on a work order, or potentially the customer moved it. So they give the customer a chance to say, oh, part's over here, you might not have seen it. They'll take a picture, do whatever. So now we determine which parts are left. They complete the audit, then it goes through a replenishment process. And we send out replenishment letters to the distributor and the customer saying, this part is missing. We'll need a PO because it's all consignment. So they have to pay for it. And it follows that process. Mm-hmm. So the screenshots that you have there that we've been going through are, it's a Quickbase app that we built that's repeatable. We've taken it now from our North America region to our EMEA region. So it's running throughout Europe. And we're working on taking it to Latin America and Asia Pacific, which is, at the beginning, I didn't state, Rockwell is a global company with 22,000 employees. So we're worldwide, working all over the world.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love, the auditing story, just because, I can definitely relate to it in a lot of ways. From the company that I previously worked at, we did auditing as well. It was more internal auditing just to make sure everyone was up to compliance and quality standards, but definitely a wonderful use case for Quickbase. And I love how you really laid it out for us. It's definitely something that I hear a lot of customers talking about.
What was neat about it too is we turned around and we literally had an auditor upload her audit sheet, and at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by 1 o'clock, the distributor had a replenishment letter in hand saying, looking for a purchase order. And in the past, that turnaround time could have been up to 3 months or more and not ever get replenished. So it was immense cost savings, time savings, getting the payments for those parts that should have been on site. Mm-hmm. So this has been a very successful project.
Yeah, absolutely. A few hours trimmed down from a few months. That's incredible. That is huge in agility, especially in today's world, for sure. So I'll do a quick recap kind of what we heard in terms of your auditing process. So it sounds to me like you import contracts from SAP with the BOM or the bill of materials. You generate that audit for your customer and schedule the audit with the customer. From there, you have access to that sheet with the updated bill of materials, the most recent one, and then the audit is performed on site with the customers. And once that audit is performed and if there are any issues or specific items need to be replenished, then that moves to that replenishment and payment process. Does that all sound accurate in terms of
That sounds very accurate.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So switching gears a little bit, let's just jump into, Amanda, kind of the same question in terms of, talking a little bit about your system, how you're integrating and your workflow that you're using today with Quickbase.
Yes, so initially we started off with manually uploading all our data from our ERP or from Excel, like what Andy does. But then later on, we kind of understood that all our data, they change very quickly. These change. So we were looking at different solutions, and then we came across this third-party vendor called QNet, who helped us integrate the data between our ERP and Quickbase. So this was a great way for us to have proceeded with, as all our data that we need in Quickbase gets updated by the hour, and it's extremely useful for us, especially to have the most accurate data that we can access from anywhere at any time.
That's fantastic. Every single hour is, really real-time visible data. That's great to hear. Now, do you want to walk us through a little bit about that kind of job scheduling, process that you're doing today? Let me pull up the screenshot here.
Okay, so the first screenshot that we're looking at here is what we do is we have kiosks at the shop floor with barcode scanners. So all the resource group leaders, they would just need to scan the barcode to populate the data of that particular job or that line. And we've tried to make the form as minimal as possible. So it's boxes that they need to check and a few options that they would need to select in terms of what machine that job's going to be worked on and who is going to be working on it. So it's very useful for us to schedule jobs this way. But right now we're also working on automation from our ERP side, so we can schedule things like even more quicker and more efficiently. So this is essentially how we display that information that the group leaders plug in. So as they assign jobs to the employees and the machines, we wanted to make sure that all the shop floor employees are able to see their work queue and see it in big screens, and they can see, okay, so I'm going to work on this job, and after that's done, I'd probably start working on this job. So this gives us visibility on where our parts would be at what time. So in case we are looking for a part, all we need to do is like look it up in Quickbase first, and then go look for it in the floor.
Love it. That shop floor visibility is so cool. And a lot of companies do that, especially, manufacturing plants. They have all sorts of analytics populated on, their dashboard. So everything from, I've seen, safety incidents and reports to, what you all are doing in parts and inventory and jobs to efficiency tracking. So it's really cool to have kind of that efficiency of that information displayed right on the floor so people can see, what their jobs are or how they're performing and all of that. So that's awesome.
Exactly. And the links that we see on the side, it actually gives us more depth into it it takes us each person's dashboard as well. And that kind of gives us an overview of their personal efficiencies on their tasks as well, like you mentioned.
That's awesome. Okay, and I think we have
Okay, so this is one of my most favorite apps that I've built. So we call this the Overview app. So this is essentially our master app that all the management and ours at. So it has all metrics in terms of our estimated hours, actual hours, our costs, our sales price, and also how many jobs that we're shipping in a day, and if we're late on any orders and why we're late. And also here, if you can see on the left side of the screen, I've added several links. So this is going to be like a one-stop app where all links to other apps are also here. So you can just teleport from this app to all the other apps.
That's awesome. So it's really like a one-stop shop for analytics and information and navigation in one place. I think that's a great idea. And with our new dashboards, I'll just throw that in there, then that makes that even easier. So you can pull that information into one place without having to actually push the information outside of the reports. So very cool and great idea. And I think we have one more screenshot here as well.
And speaking of new dashboards, right. So this is our implementation of the new dashboard. And this is extremely helpful during our weekly and monthly reviews. So if you can see that we have filters on the top of the screen. And here, this is, well, these are all dummy data that we've inputted, but essentially what we do is like we can see where we are at in terms of margins, costs, and hours of work that we put in, if we are making enough money, and all that sort. And we have like 3 different charts on the other side, which shows us like a metric of comparisons, and also comparisons from job to job. So the cool thing about this dashboard is that once we filter it by the project manager, all the data on this dashboard changes. So the charts and also the table, like everything is filtered by the main filter. So this is like super cool, and we love using this in all our meetings now.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's what we keep hearing, from feedback from our customers, just how awesome the new dashboards are. I personally love them. I think the filtering capabilities are awesome. So I'm so glad that you guys are using it. So just to kind of recap, Amanda, the workflow that I'm hearing. So it sounds to me like first, you're assigning information like jobs and employees to machines. Employees can see these visual dashboards right on the floor to see their job queue. Barcodes are scanned where machinery data is auto-populated to just kind of minimize the data entry that needs to be done. And then from there, you're actually tracking the capacity of machines and performance, and then sending that information and creating dashboards of insights for management and upper level. And then from there, you have even more information in terms of tracking jobs completed, costs, and profit margins. Does that all sound accurate, or is there anything missing there?
No, it's perfect.
Awesome. So really appreciate both of you joining us and sharing such really great detail around all those workflows with our audience. I have just a couple of more questions that I usually kind of like to close with, and love to hear from our customers. So number one is, why would you choose Quickbase over other solutions, specifically in kind of this, no code, low code world? What makes Quickbase really stand out? And Andy, we can start with you on that one.
The nice part, I think, is it's all self-contained. I mean, you got your data, you got notifications, you can build your dashboard. It's all fairly intuitive and self-contained. Another thing, it's been a go-to system is it doesn't take long to get someone up to speed. I'm finding out that, over the years, an intern, you can have them up to speed in developing, and you put them side by side with a a business professional, and they can make very powerful systems very quickly. A couple weeks of training using the university works excellent, and they start out maybe a junior, and within 5-6 months they're very savvy in how to navigate around the system. That is so important for having the ability to be nimble, agile, and build things fairly quickly and adjust different systems fast, or different solutions needed. It's one system but different solutions.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely hear that all the time. So, I mean, even with my own background, it was kind of like, hey, Ashley, can you figure out this report in Quickbase? And it was within a day that, I'd figured out the report and also fell in love with the product, just because of how quickly you can turn an idea into a full-blown product and full-blown application. So I love to hear that. And Amanda, how about you from your perspective? What made Quickbase really stand out to you, and why would you choose it over other solutions?
So I was personally involved in choosing Quickbase for our company. Basically, I came across Quickbase when I was working on projects to improve our scheduling process and provide traceability of parts. Most of the other solutions we're looking at required a lot of coding knowledge. And I think Quickbase, with its low-code nature that we could easily customize according to our needs, made us choose it over the other solutions. But however, after working on it for over a year now, I can say that there are many reasons why we still choose to stay with Quickbase and would want to stay with Quickbase. The ability for us to color code, make effective reports, and the constant updates and improvements on the platform by the Quickbase team. For example, like the new dashboards and reports that we exploit are a part of the features that I believe make Quickbase stand out. And the biggest of all is the satisfaction that we get as the customer. Whenever I have a question or I need help with anything, I can always turn to the Quickbase staff, online resources like the Quickbase University, the Slack channels, and the community of users. So they all come together or individually help me a lot, especially when I'm going through a challenge in building a formula or building a report. And like Andy mentioned, the Quickbase University was like super the app building nature, and I was even able to get my app builder certificate, which I take a lot of pride in. So I think everything combined makes me really enjoy working on Quickbase.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love to hear that, just because, from the perspective of the training and just getting up to speed really quick to all the, changes that we make every single month, and that get pushed out, and just constant improvements to the product. I think it is really a neat product. And I just really love to hear that from our customers as well. My last question is, to kind of wrap up and just kind of see the future, right? So I'd love to hear from both of you. What's next? What are the processes or workflows or problems that you're trying to solve with Quickbase, or that you're looking to build out with Quickbase in the near future? And Andy, we'll jump back to you.
Well, I have a backlog that is growing. Probably even got another entry as we did this interview. It seems people they seem to always have ideas how to use it. They come with, we need Quickbase. I'm like, no, you need to tell me what your actual requirements are and we'll build it. But really our goal is to take things globally, commonize our processes, make them so we can be more efficient from region to region. That's a big part. We've done a lot of delivery stuff where we build offerings and then we just let each region determine how to do it. Then we find that once you look at it later on, that offering could look a little different to our customers, and we're focusing more on our customers' experience as a company. So our solutions have to follow and be able to take care of our customers' needs. And the system has to look like that. And that's part of why we're looking at taking things globally, commonizing our systems, making changes where we need to in processes to let the solution, then the tool itself, follow that process changes.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's limitless almost. It comes down to being, I mean, it's in trying to find common ways for people think they have to have a unique solution. And after you start talking with them, you can bundle 3 or 4 different solutions into one and leverage an app and just have small amounts of unique parts to a larger app that runs, might be a project tracking system. And we do projects very much the same. We talk to the customer. We have the same milestones for each offering. When you get to the offering itself, it might be a little unique. And that's where we would put our uniqueness in that smaller area. So now we can actually leverage the system even much more, and have more users using that same app, and be very consistent. And when we share out the data too, because now the data is consistent. We didn't build 3 or 4 or 5 unique apps to do project management just for each offering.
Mhm.
So it's thinking outside the box a little bit, and simplifying is our direction.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that I think a lot of companies struggle with, is just kind of having a consistent or global solution. So, we talk to a lot of customers that have, every single plant or every single location is doing something different, right? And then it's so difficult to like bring that information together, make it cohesive, report on it in one place, and a lot of info. And then not only is it, difficult internally, but then the customer experience, right, can potentially be inconsistent as well.
And the role-based options and being able to control the data with roles and different security, Quickbase adds that, makes that fairly easy. So we can have one table holding all regions across the globe's data, but the user experience is regionally. So we secure their data. So when North America only sees theirs, EMEA only sees theirs, so on and so forth. So that's pretty neat stuff there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Amanda, how about you and Power Plant? What are kind of the next things that you're looking to do with Quickbase, kind of future or forward focusing?
So currently, I'm focusing on working on an app that can help us in capacity planning. So we're able to manage our workload and also schedule jobs more efficiently. But as I mentioned before, and also as Andy mentioned, I feel that there are many new use cases that people think of every week. And they're like, oh, Amanda, would this probably help us? Like, do you think we can get this done on Quickbase? And mostly, yes, we can. And it's just that there are like several new projects that keep popping up, and it's all smaller, but then it helps with continuously improving our app and our dashboards. And I just think that there's so many different opportunities that we can explore on Quickbase.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think capacity planning is a great use case. And I love to hear, when there's more use cases than there are builders, with Quickbase, just because it just continues to grow and grow. So
sometimes you have to say no.
Well, with Quickbase, I think you should always say yes, right?
Well, you say yes, but what I built actually was a steering committee. So I put a buffer in front of me to have by business function, subject matter expert in the area that they have to screen through them to get into the request system, that says, are you even ready? If I build it, I can build it fast, but are you ready for the change management? Are you ready for the rollout? Are you ready to make the difference once you have the tool in your hand? Are you going to use it as a micrometer or a hammer, when we get it done? We can build fast. And what I always say is that the building's not usually the blocker. It's the change management. That's the hardest part. People don't always want to change. The people that request it think everybody wants to change, but then you get there, it's sometimes harder and slower than you think. So allowing time for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the nice thing is, you can even, and I love having these governance conversations. These are so important to our customers, is how do you govern, a citizen development platform? And that can be a whole nother conversation, I think, on its own. But I love that you've set up that sort of, first pass. And I've talked with a lot of other customers that have done something really similar. So that's a great conversation to have as you're planning out, which applications make sense. Do we have that thing already somewhere? Can you be in this bucket with this person? So I think governance is absolutely huge. So no, that's a great point to bring up. Okay. Well, I think this has been a really great session, and that kind of wraps up what we had for today. So before we turn it over to Q&A, if you're interested in learning more about our integration capabilities, you can visit our integrations page under the platform section of our website. And if you're interested in having a more personalized conversation with a member of our team, you can sign up for a demo on our website as well. So if you have questions that you haven't yet asked, just feel free to drop them in the chat, and then we'll jump into answering some of those questions now. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time. Thank you, Amanda and Andy, for joining us today. We had a really great conversation.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure.